Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Learn Linux TV. Right now I'm actually encountering a real production issue with one of my Linux servers, and I was about to fix it, but decided not to. And the reason for that is because I figured it would be a lot more fun if you guys watched me fix a real production issue, which is exactly what I'm going to do in this video. In particular, we're going to use this as a learning opportunity to explore universally unique identifiers when it comes to Linux storage, because the issue that I'm dealing with is related to that. So what I'm going to do in this video is briefly explain the concept of UUIDs to make sure that you understand what I'm talking about, and I'll also explain why it's important to pay attention to it. In my case, the actual issue is impacting the community forums for my channel. Overnight, unattended upgrades will run, and it'll reboot the server if that's necessary. But in roughly 1 out of 3 times, the server just doesn't come back up, and it suffers a kernel panic instead. And this causes me to have to wake up from an alert to fix it. And the reason for this, again, has to do with UUIDs, which we're going to be exploring today. So what we're going to do today is, again, explore the concept of UUIDs. I'll show you the problem that I'm encountering, and by the end of the video, I'm going to let you guys watch as I fix the problem. So join me and let's dive in. And first, let's set some foundational knowledge. What exactly is a UUID in regard to Linux storage, and more importantly, why does it even matter in the first place? Well, to better understand that, we need to first understand the problem that UUIDs actually solve. What you're seeing right here is an fstab file, and you can see that I have 2 volumes on this instance, /dev/sda as well as /dev/sdb that are being mounted. And at first, nothing looks unusual here. And to be fair, the file is correct from a syntax perspective. We have the 2 volumes I mentioned, a mount point, a file system type, and so on. But the problem is that depending on the hardware or platform, the device identifiers, such as /dev/sda for example, might not always be assigned to the same device every time. Whenever your system boots up, it's going to assign identifiers such as SDA or SDB to your hard disks, and depending on the order that they're detected in, the device that was previously known as SDB might now be SDA. In my case, that means the volume that's designated for swap might get SDB sometimes or SDA other times. And when this happens, you might end up getting a kernel panic such as the one that you're seeing right here. And yes, this is the actual server the community forums runs on. It's not a demo instance, it's a real server. I could simply force a reset of the instance and maybe next time it'll come up just fine. If not, I'll reset it again and again, and eventually it's going to boot like there was no issue, even though I haven't actually fixed anything yet. And when it comes to universally unique identifiers, this is the exact scenario that this aims to solve. We'll get back to the video in just a moment, but I wanted to let you know that my latest book is available now. It's called Switching to Linux, and it'll help you, well, switch to Linux. And if you're thinking about switching your computer to Linux, then you're in store for a fun journey. But there's also a lot to learn. But that's not a problem for you, because if you check out my latest book, it'll guide you through the process every step of the way. You'll learn about the various Linux distributions, desktop environments, applications, and you'll also learn how to manage your system. The book will include expert tips along the way, and you'll learn literally everything, from installation all the way to daily use. And by the end, you won't just have Linux running on your computer, you'll actually understand it. So check out my latest book and switch to Linux in confidence. And each purchase helps support the channel, and I really appreciate it. And if you do check it out, then be sure to leave a review. That would be awesome. And now, let's get back to the video. And in fact, what I'm going to do right now is try to reproduce the problem. Here I have the Linode instance that the community forums runs on, and what I'm going to do is access a Lish console. Notice that the server is actually up and running right now. And the uptime, as of the time I'm recording this video, is about 5 days. So I guess it's been around 5 days since I've last encountered this issue. But watch what happens when I go to reboot the instance. What I'll do is click right here, and I'll go ahead and reboot it. Now, of course, this is going to disconnect everyone from the community forums, but this is a learning opportunity, so I don't mind. Sorry, guys. So let's go ahead and do it. And right now, the forums are still up, but any moment now, it's going to go down. You can see that it's rebooting right now. And that also means the forums are now down. But anyway, what I'll do is go back to my Lish console, and any moment now it's going to start back up, and it might start up just fine, but it also might not. Let's see what happens. And this time it looks like it's actually starting up just fine. I'm going to let it finish booting, and then I'll reboot it again. And now that it's done, what I'll do is go back to my Linode dashboard, and again, I'm going to reboot it. And let's see what happens this time. And now we'll wait to see if the problem happens this time. And check it out, we're seeing errors. And as you can see right here, the second time I rebooted this instance, it did not come back up. So I was able to reproduce the problem. So what I'll do is reboot it again to make sure that everyone is able to access the forums. I'll explain the concept of UUIDs in more detail, and then we'll come back to this instance and fix it. So I rebooted the instance a third time, and any moment now it's going to reboot, and we'll try again to get the instance started. And now check it out, it's booting up totally fine, and the thing is, I've changed absolutely nothing. This is definitely an intermittent problem. Sometimes it starts up fine and other times it doesn't. But at least now everyone is able to access the forums again. And to prove it, go back here, we'll refresh the page, and now the forums are back up, so everyone is able to access it again. So let's explore the concept of UUIDs to make sure that we better understand it, and again, we're going to fix this problem. And now what I have right here is an open SSH connection to my forum server. And what I'm going to do is explain the concept of UUIDs in more detail, and to do that, there's a few commands that I need to go over. So basically what I'm going to do is give you the commands that you'll use to troubleshoot this exact issue. And the first thing that we need to know is what our device identifiers are. Earlier I showed you the fstab file, so we kind of already know that. And again, here's the file. And right here we see the device identifiers, /dev/sda and /dev/sdb. But another way to find that same information is by using the lsblk command. Here we see the device names and some other information as well. And the thing is, like I mentioned, we have SDA and SDB, but depending on the order that these devices are detected in, they might not be assigned the same way each and every boot. And because of that, sometimes the server, well, doesn't boot. But in order to fix this, we're going to need to know what the UUIDs are for each of these volumes. And now what we'll do is discover how we go about finding what our UUIDs are. I'll need to use sudo because I'm going to be inspecting system level information. And the command that we'll use for this purpose is the blkid command. It's short for block ID, and it looks like this. And what we'll do is press enter, and let's see what happens. And right here, we get the UUIDs for each of those volumes. And the thing is, the UUID is going to be, well, unique to that storage volume. So if you inspect yours, you won't see the same UUIDs on your end. I mean, you probably could, but it's extremely unlikely. But anyway, the block ID command is how we retrieve this information. Now, we can also give the block ID command an argument. So for example, I'll recall the previous command, and as an argument, I'll type /dev/sda. I'll press enter, and now we get information that's specific to that particular volume. I'll do the same thing for /dev/sdb as well, and now we have that information. So what we'll do at this point is copy the UUIDs for these volumes, and then just store it in a temporary text file or something like that, because we'll be needing these values shortly. And I went ahead and copied mine off camera, so we're ready to continue. But before we do that, I want to give you guys one more trick. Earlier, I mentioned the lsblk command, and again, here it is. And this helps us find out what our device identifiers are, but what we could also do is use sudo with lsblk and then give it the -f option. And actually, that gives us all the information in one shot. We get the device identifier and the UUIDs from one command, and that greatly simplifies the process. Now that we know what our UUIDs are, how do we actually implement this in practice? Well, let's take a look at that right now. And what we're going to do is edit the etc fstab file. And to do that, I'll type sudo, and then nano, and I'll type /etc/fstab. And that's going to open the fstab file in a text editor. And we can ignore the red blotches here. That's just something I've configured within my shell to highlight blank spaces. So you can ignore that, but the important thing is we have /dev/sda and /dev/sdb. And again, the problem is It's not the case that each volume is going to receive the same name every time it boots. But again, universally unique identifiers will always be the same. They'll follow each particular storage volume, so we don't have to worry at all about the order they were detected in. But in order to fix it, we're going to have to change the device identifiers that are listed here to UUIDs. And the thing is, we have to be very careful as we edit the fstab file. The thing is, if we make any mistakes at all, well, it's going to make the problem a lot worse. But what I'll do is give you some commands shortly that'll help you verify the file. That way you'll know it's correct before you reboot your instance. And as an aside, it's a good idea to create a snapshot backup of your instance before you do anything with the fstab file. That way, if you do end up making a mistake, you'll have an easy means of recovery. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go down to the very first storage volume. I'm going to remove the device identifier that's there right now, and in its place, what I'll do is type UUID in caps. I'll type an equal sign, and then what I'll do is paste in the UUID that's specific to that device. So I'll paste it in, and now the first one is done. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the second one as well. So we'll go down here, we'll remove what's there currently, we'll type UUID, and I'll paste in the UUID that's specific to that volume. And there we have it. So what we're going to do is save the file, and then we'll exit out. But one thing that we should absolutely not do right now is reboot the system. I mean, it's probably going to work just fine, but we should never reboot a Linux instance after changing the fstab file until we've verified it first. And actually, it's super easy to do exactly that. I'll give you two commands to verify your fstab file, and the first one is going to be sudo and then mount-a. Just like that. I'll press enter, and in my case, well, nothing happened. But actually, that's a very good sign. Now what the mount-a command does is mount any volume that's listed in the fstab file that's not currently mounted. In my case, I only have a root file system and a swap volume as well, so it's not going to be the case that they're not mounted, well, at least as long as it doesn't kernel panic, that is. So there wasn't anything that wasn't already mounted, but another thing that this command does is it will report an error if there's a mistake in that file. So the fact that I didn't see any output is a very good sign. In addition to that, what we could do is type sudo, and then find mount, which is abbreviated, and we could give it the argument --verify. I'll press enter, and for me it's telling me that the file is fine, but it's been modified and the system hasn't been rebooted since it was changed. But that's exactly what we want to see, and again, it's telling me that there's no errors or warnings. The one warning that it found doesn't really matter because I'm going to be rebooting the instance right now. I'll type sudo, and then reboot. I'll press enter, and now the forums are going to go down one more time, but from now on it's going to be a lot more stable. I won't have to worry about random kernel panics anymore, so that's a very good thing. And because I'm impatient, I'll just go ahead and ping the server. I just want to know exactly when it comes back up. And as you can see, the server is now responding. And in addition to that, the forum should be available for my users very shortly. Let's just make sure that that's the case. And as you can see, it's back online, so we were able to fix the problem. And the takeaway here is that using the old method, such as using /dev/sda and so on, is not something that you really should be doing. The thing is, universally unique identifiers will follow the device, so no matter where the device happens to be, even if you were to swap SATA cables or something like that, they're always going to have the same UUID. And if we refer to the volume by the UUID, then we're in a much better position to make sure that it's mounted properly every time. And that's the reason why UUIDs exist. We want to make sure that everything mounts exactly where it should be, and that's extremely important because we don't want a kernel panic. That would definitely not be a good thing. And now that I've fixed it, I'm not going to have to deal with that anymore. And there you go. It was a relatively simple problem to fix, but what you just saw was a real production issue here at Learn Linux TV. Every now and then the server would not reboot and I'd have to manually go in and keep rebooting it over and over again until it comes back up. It's definitely not a good time and not something that I want to be doing, especially when I receive an alert in the middle of the night after automatic updates. And not only that, if you didn't already know about UUIDs, well, now you do. So I really hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys. But anyway, you guys watched me fix a real server, which was a lot of fun, and it's something that I plan on doing again in the future the next time I encounter an issue. But for now, I really appreciate you guys checking out this tutorial. Again, I hope it helped you out. And be sure to click that like button if it did. In the meantime, thanks again for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.